Live from Citizen TV, this is Tonight with Sawa Gituku.
Hello there. Thank you for choosing Citizen TV on this very first day of May 2025. Happy Labor Day. And tonight, News Gang and Data Point will not be showing, but will be back come next week. But first, here are the top stories tonight. Police pursuing suspect captured on CCTV, monitoring Kasipul MP Charles Were's movement minutes before he was gunned down.
Were has recorded statement from DCI headquarters. Were has recorded statement up for DCI hapa. No assistance had been, he has not been assisted.
Family of slain MP Charles Ongondo Were decries police inaction over complaints he filed while alive.
Employers will now be required to apply eligible tax relief and exemptions directly when calculating pay as you earn.
Labor Day pain, no wage increase for workers as government struggles to implement 6% increment promised last year. Inside the Finance Bill 2025, National Treasury shifts from direct taxes, proposes amendments that could end up raising cost of goods. Good evening. Our sign language interpreter is Yola Nzale. We begin the bulletin tonight with the developing story of the murder of Kasipul Member of Parliament Charles Ongondo Were. Investigations into that murder have zeroed in on a suspect captured on CCTV trailing the legislator minutes before he was gunned down along Valley Road. The late MP was shot at least 4 times at close range by a lone gunman who fled on a sports bike waiting nearby. Detectives who have visited key locations the MP visited on the final day, relying on CCTV footage and witness statements from his driver and bodyguards as they work to track down the killers. Gatete Njoroge reports.
3 bullet holes pierced the passenger side window. Bloodstains smeared the console box. The aftermath of what police believe was a well-orchestrated murder plot, executed with deadly precision by a hired assassin, ending the life of Kasipul MP Charles Were along Valley Road on Wednesday night. A chilling assassination that is causing detectives sleepless nights as they pursue all available leads to nab the suspects. On Thursday, detectives extended their probe to the National Assembly, where the late Kasipul MP Charles Were had spent most of his day attending to parliamentary duties. According to reports, the MP left Parliament just before 7 p.m, accompanied by his driver and bodyguard. The vehicle was seen heading towards City Hall Way before taking a turn onto Wabera Street. It was along this street that the MP's car came to a stop. His bodyguard briefly stepped out, walking into an M-Pesa shop where he reportedly deposited 20,000 shillings into the MP's phone. CCTV footage in the area captured a man wearing a hood and carrying a bag who was monitoring the car. CCTV captures the MP and his team leaving the area at 7:19 p.m. and joining Kenyatta Avenue. The driver changed route and joined Ralph Batch Road to evade traffic before joining Agwings Kodek Road. Unaware they were being followed, they joined Valley Road where there was traffic. That same man who had been closely monitoring the MP's vehicle along Wabera Street was later seen riding pillion on a sports bike, tailing the car at close range. At exactly 7:40 p.m, as the vehicle came to a stop at a red light, the assassin made his move. He disembarked, calmly walked around the car and opened fire at point-blank range. 4 shots shattering the passenger window, striking the MP in the chest and hand. In seconds, the killer dashed back to the waiting motorbike. The rider sped off toward Nairobi's CBD, vanishing into traffic, leaving behind panic, shattered glass, and a fatally wounded legislator. The MP's bodyguard, who was seated directly behind him, told investigators he was caught off guard by the sudden gunfire. He says he instinctively took cover before stepping out to pursue the attackers. But by then, they had already vanished. The bodyguard quickly turned his attention to the wounded MP, who was bleeding heavily and pleading for help. Together with the driver, they rushed him to Nairobi Hospital, but it was too late. Charles Were was pronounced dead on arrival. Remarkably, both the driver and the bodyguard escaped the brazen attack unharmed in a hit that lasted less than a minute, carried out on a busy city road. Homicide detectives led by their director Martin Nyuguto, who visited the scene on Thursday morning to reconstruct the events, recovered 3 spent cartridges, which will be subjected to ballistic examination. Later, detectives camped along Wabera Street, where the MP was last spotted before his assailant shot him dead. Police have collected CCTV footage from several shops in the area, which captured the suspect closely monitoring the MP's vehicle as it was parked near an M-Pesa shop. In their pursuit of the killer, detectives have questioned 3 individuals: the MP's driver, his bodyguard, and the M-Pesa attendant. The investigation has also widened to Kasipul as police explore the possibility that the assassination may have been politically motivated. With investigators having combed the area where Kasipul MP Charles Were was gunned down, the focus now shifts to tracking his last moments, reviewing CCTV footages, and getting witness accounts to be able to pursue the killers. Gatete Njoroge, Citizen TV, Valley Road, Nairobi.
At the same time, President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga have called for thorough and speedy investigation into the fatal shooting of Kasipul MP Charles Ong'ondo Were, calling on the investigative agencies to bring those behind the killing to justice. And as Manuel Toh now reports, the MP who met his death less than an hour after leaving Parliament, where he attended day-long proceedings, was eulogized as an astute leader.
In his statement on the X platform, President William Ruto termed the death of the legislator as tragic and senseless. The head of state saying, quote, "We urge the police to conduct a thorough investigation into this incident. Those responsible must be held to account." The ODM chief Raila Odinga also joining the list of the national leaders who sent their messages of condolence to friends and family of the MP, saying, quote, "We have lost a gallant son of the soil. Honorable Charles Ong'ondo Were is no more. Mercilessly and in cold blood, gunned down by an assassin in Nairobi this evening." Odinga castigating the gangland style of execution of the MP at the heart of the capital while appealing for calm. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, also calling for the beefing up of security of Kenyans and especially national leaders to prevent a repeat of the incident.
We treat it as an act of criminality. A murder of an elected member of parliament is regrettable, and we hope that those criminals will be brought to justice.
My name is Honorable Charles Ong'ondo Were, MP Kasipul.
Were, a second-term MP, was the vice chairperson of the Cohesion and Equality Committee of the National Assembly and was in Parliament for the better part of Wednesday, where the Prime CS and the CS for Foreign Affairs Musalia Mudavadi and CS for Transport Davis Chirchir were appearing to answer questions from the MPs. It is at this roundabout near City Mortuary where Kasipul MP Charles Ong'ondo Were met his demise. This bag and some documents scattered on the back seat of his car, left behind as the assailant described as a highly trained assassin, took his life in cold blood. Some of his colleagues recounting their last interactions with him.
It's like I'm in a dream world because I spent the whole afternoon with him. We went together for tea, came back, sat again in Parliament, and I left him at around 7.
Charles Ong'ondo Were is a person all members of Parliament referred to as Sir Charles. So honorable, no conflict with anybody, always very lively.
Honorable Were was a consummate politician. He loved his people. He was always with his people. He loved his family. He balanced. He was a dependable person.
More MPs have continued to pass their condolences. Emmanuel Cho, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Staying with that story, the late Charles Ong'ondo Were was a marked man who had openly expressed fears for his safety. Now, his family is speaking out against the police failure to act on several life threats made against him. And as Seth Olale now reports, the family of the slain legislator is demanding that his killers be identified and arrested, insisting they were well known to the MP.
It wasn't a question of if, but when the assailants would strike. On the fateful day he was taken, the slain MP's sudden change in logistical protocols painted the picture of a man fully aware of the looming danger and doing everything in his power to throw off those determined to track him down. On Wednesday, the very day he was gunned down by an assassin's bullet, the late Kasipul legislator made a dramatic decision. Reports indicate that he left his official car parked at his house and chose to use his son's saloon car to travel from Parliament to his home, a home he never returned to. His official vehicle remains parked untouched, still at his house. According to close aides, the late Charles Ong'ondo Were had long been a marked man, having openly complained about his life being in danger numerous times.
One of the notorious criminals who comes from Kachin, called a boy, stated that I will not talk there.
Now, his family is expressing outrage over the police's lack of action in response to multiple threats made against him.
Were has recorded statement from DCI headquarters. Were has recorded statement hapa kwa DCI hapa. No assistance had been, he has not been assisted.
The family says that the numerous life threats against their loved one should have warranted a swift response.
Mujumbe told us here, in that clip, he mentioned names.
At his current home in Nairobi, family members still struggling to come to terms to the tragic loss.
We urge the investigative agencies to fasten the investigations.
I think the question in everybody's mind is who did this and why did they do it? I think that is the question that everybody is asking.
Mourners flocked the late Were's home in Kasipul, Homa Bay County, where the late legislator was scheduled to interact with his constituents this weekend. The funeral organizing committee, which includes parliamentary leadership, has tentatively set Friday, May 9th as the burial date. Family and friends of the late Kasipul MP, Sir Charles Ong'ondo Were, will be assembling here to console the family, even as burial plans continue. Seth Olale, Citizen TV, Karen, Nairobi County.
And we'll continue to monitor that story for you. Now to the matters of Labor Day. Kenyan workers had nothing to smile about as the country marked the third Labor Day, a celebration under the Kenya Kwanza administration. This year's Labor Day coming in the wake of increased unemployment levels, diminishing incomes occasioned by numerous deductions on the payslip, as well as restructuring by companies as they seek to remain afloat. And unlike the Labor Day celebrations in the year 2024, there was no wage increase for the bottom cadre as the government struggled to implement the 6% wage increment promised last year. Jimmy Mbogo has more.
It is a day that is meant to re-energize the workforce across the country, a day to offer them hope for a better tomorrow. But Labor Day 2025 came with none of that. with the government failing to inspire workers or even promise a review of their wages. The promise to increase the minimum wage by 6% in 2024 is yet to be fully implemented, and despite the workers calling for a review of statutory deduction from gross to basic pay, the government remained mum.
Ya hizi vitu tunakatwa, housing, nini, taxation. It should not be on gross salary. Hizi vitu inatakana viwe on basic, so that gross umefanya overtime, umefanya nini, it's not interfered with.
To improve workers' take-home pay, employers will now be required to apply eligible tax relief and exemptions directly when calculating pay as you earn, a significant shift from the current system where such reliefs can only be claimed from Kenya Revenue Authority. This will increase efficiency and immediately benefit employees.
As if to add salt to injury, the government offered no explanation on the scandal-ridden Kazi Majuu program spearheaded by the Ministry of Labour, in which Kenyans say they have lost millions of shillings in the process of seeking to export their labour outside the country. Instead, the ministry opted to look for scapegoats evading accountability.
We have cartels and rogue agencies that are taking advantage of vulnerable Kenyans. We have fake news on low labour mobility pathways are being used to either mislead our youth or try to discourage them.
Labour migration continues to be a cornerstone of our strategy to expand jobs for Kenyans. Last year, over 200,000 Kenyans secured jobs abroad. This year, we are strengthening our efforts through targeted recruitment and bilateral labour agreements.
Now, and as the curtains fall on the 60th edition of Labour Day celebration here in the capital, it is back to the drawing board for the workers who walk away with nothing. Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Still with the Labour Day celebrations at Uhuru Gardens in Nairobi, which were marked by visible tension after the Federation of Kenya Employers, FKE, was denied a chance to address workers during the national event. The move highlighted growing friction between employers and union leaders amidst mounting economic pressure. Dennis Otieno reports.
For nearly 6 decades, Labour Day celebrations in Kenya, held every 1st of May, have followed a familiar tradition. Representatives from the government, workers' unions and employers' lobby each take turns addressing the nation's workers. But this year, the Federation of Kenya Employers, FKE, was stunned when its representative was denied a chance to speak at the event. The Central Organization of Trade Unions COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli publicly criticized FKE, accusing it of undermining the Kenyan government by allegedly frustrating the ratification of 2 key international labor organization conventions, ILO Convention 189 on domestic workers and Convention 190 on violence and harassment in the workplace.
So anybody frustrating the ratification of ILO 189 and Convention 190 is frustrating your government. These 2 conventions have been ratified world over. And Your Excellency, you need to talk also to the Federation of Kenya Employers. You are our person. Let them give us support in this direction.
COTU maintains that Kenya's failure to ratify the 2 conventions has weakened its international labor standing. President William Ruto responded by pledging swift action.
I am also pleased to announce that Kenya will ratify the 2 critical ILO conventions. Dr. Mutua and team, you know what you need to do, so that when we come here next year, we will report to the Kenyan workers that we have ratified and we have concluded our work.
In response, FKE expressed disappointment at being excluded from the national platform, calling the move unjust. The Federation maintained that it had acted in good faith and continues to engage constructively on national labour issues.
There are international conventions which dictate the process to be followed. A country should be ready, should look at its processes, its laws, its systems to be ready for implementation. So that's what we want done, then we will be ready to ratify.
FKE highlighted the difficult environment employers are operating in, citing high taxation, economic uncertainty, and mounting operational costs.
But it is unfortunate that instead of handling issues through dialogue, which this sector runs on, we are then exposed to the kind of scenario we went through today.
Despite the controversy, Labour Day celebrations went on as planned, with speeches from key Labour leaders and government representatives focusing on improving workers' welfare. However, the absence of employers' voice has left a noticeable gap in what is traditionally a tripartite event. Dennis Otieno, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Let's now shift focus to the grassroots, where ordinary Kenyans mark the Labour Day with mixed feelings. Many say the rising cost of living has crushed their hopes, even as salaries remain stagnant. And as Safina Chengo now reports, they are urging the government to ease the tax burden and prioritize reviving the economy.
Esther Mudhoni Wahome, a 50-year-old tea plantation worker in Kiaridhaini area of Madira constituency in Nyeri County, has been in the industry for over 20 years. Yet despite her years of hard work, she says her salary remains meager.
Hiyo 300 hainitoshi, sababu hata ukiangalia kwa uga mmoja ni 150 na niko na watoto 3. Hao watoto wanakula, wanakunywa chai, lakini nikigawa hiyo 300 hainitoshi.
As the nation celebrates Labour Day, Esther is hopeful that things will change, especially considering the current harsh economic times.
Ningetaka hiyo kampuni ya KTDA na serikali washikiriane ndio tuongezwe kitu. Sababu KTDA ikiongeza mkulima kitu, hata sisi wafanyikazi wafanyi vibarua tutasaidika.
In Nyakenyetita village in Nyamira North Sub-County, we meet Wycliffe Anyona going about his daily chores to sustain his livelihood. Wycliffe says he has nothing to celebrate.
Mimi nimekuwa kwa shughuli zangu za kila siku za kujitafutia, sababu hata nikiaja hii siku moja familia inanihitaji. Pia kuna vitu zingine zinahitaji. So hivyo sasa ningeaja kazi yangu nifanye, nianze kusherehekea Labour Day, kuna shughuli zenye zingesimama.
Due to tough living conditions, the young man has been forced to find alternative ways to feed his family, including growing vegetables and raising chicken.
Mimi kwa mwezi huwa natengeneza chini ya 10,000. Hizo pesa asiwezi fikia mahitaji yangu, sababu mahitaji yangu nikipiga hesabu inaweza fikia kama 20,000 hivi.
Esther and Wycliffe are among thousands of Kenyans complaining about low wages, despite putting in the effort at work and in business. Their call is for the government to reduce the taxes and address the state of economy. Safin Acheng Omar, Citizen TV.
Speaking of jobs, in yet another of the most unlikely political moves, activist and law academician Professor Makau Mutua has joined President William Ruto's government as a senior advisor on constitutional affairs. Professor Makau, who is former Prime Minister Raila Odinga's close associate, defies the background of his withering attacks on President Ruto to take up an appointment that places the former critic in the center circle of President Ruto's power orbit. Brenda Wanga reports on an evolution that sends further signals of President Ruto's and Raila Odinga's ongoing broad-based bromance.
By joining President William Ruto's bloated stable of advisors, Professor Makau Mutua completes what was until the broad-based government an unlikely journey into government. Professor Mutua has, in the duration of his political career, stuck with the opposition and its leader, Raila Odinga. Makau, who gained his academic stripes from the University of Nairobi and Dar es Salaam before transiting to the prestigious Harvard University, where he earned his master's in law and doctorate in science of law, has also served as the Dean of Law at the State University of New York. But beyond academia, Mutua has also delved into politics, championing the fight for basic freedoms and democratic ideals, traits that landed him into Raila Odinga's opposition camp, where he served as the head of his 2022 presidential campaign think tank and as Azimio spokesperson.
Mr. Odinga is Kenya's foremost living liberator. without even question. As I said on another program the other day, he is our Nelson Mandela.
And I answered you.
On the opposite side, wait a minute.
He's our Putelezi.
Wait a minute. On the opposite side, you have a precocious young man who has never sacrificed for a single day, who cannot explain his worth.
Professor Mutua was a blistering critic of President Ruto. In the run-up to the 2022 general election, Professor Makau wrote a sharp critique in response to what he said was an overture from Ruto's camp that he couldn't and wouldn't work with Ruto. Never, ever. But that position is now water under the bridge as the liaison between President Ruto and Raila Odinga continues to occasion broad-based surprises. Professor Makau, one of Raila's closest confidants, now worms his way to the center of the Ruto administration as a senior presidential advisor. The man who once served as the chair of a task force that birthed the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission, a delegate to the Constitutional Conference and advisor to the anti-corruption czar John Githongo, and former chairman of the Kenya Human Rights Commission, now finds himself in the innermost circle of a man he was highly critical of. In appointing Mutua to his group of advisors, President Ruto termed Makau as someone who had a wealth of experience in legal, constitutional and human rights matters. Mutua, in accepting that role of senior advisor of constitutional affairs in the office of the president, promised to serve the president and Kenyans with honor and distinction. His appointment, however, has drawn mixed reactions, with many faulting him for accepting it. He has, however, in a rejoinder on his X handle, defended himself, stating that he has spent his life in law at the highest levels and couldn't think of a better way to serve Kenya. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.
Indeed, times really change. We're taking a short break on tonight. When we come back, you have more stories, including this.
Take them back to school with ease. As schools reopen, we will continue to partner with you to keep their dreams alive. Pay school fees for free at any Equity branch or agent. Buy a banker's check at 100 shillings. Access school fees loans by dialing *247*6# on any network via Equity mobile app or Equitel. Pay for shopping by dialing *247# via Equity mobile app, Equitel, Equity Card, Equity Visa, MasterCard or Amex cards. Take them back to school with ease. Equity, your back-to-school partner.
Craving an extraordinary escape? View Travel invites you to breathtaking Cape Town. Starting from $1,300 per person sharing, enjoy 4 nights with breakfast plus Cape Town City Tour, cable car ride up Table Mountain, full-day Peninsula Tour, scenic Chapman's Peak Drive, Cape of Good Hope, photo stops at Bokap and Muizenberg, Constantia Wineland Estate Tour. View Travel, your gateway to Cape Town's wonders. Visit viewtravel.com or call and WhatsApp 0703-254-254. View Travel. Dream. Explore. Discover.
Experience the power of the ultimate glow in our new revitalizing formula. With 3 times more oil-infused serum, Vaseline Lotions penetrates and restores your skin's natural moisture from within, while boosting your natural glow on the outside. No need to add extra oils or glycerin. Feel the difference. See the power of the ultimate glow. New Vaseline Lotions.
Kazi gani tena hii?
Hebu kwanza tuhakikishe insurance yako ni halali. Wewe unachukua tu karatasi unabandika Unajua hii sasa ni police case wewe. Shuka.
Ashiki simu.
The customer you're trying to reach is not available.
Don't find yourself in such situations. Verify your insurance sticker before you drive. Dial *352# or download Bima Yangu app to verify. Usibahatishe. Thibitisha pap.
Shughulikia your back to school cash na Coop Bank. Ndio huu mwaka usishinde umekram namba ya bazaar. Lipa your kids school fees by paying directly via M-Pesa Paybill 400-222. You can also pay for shopping, books and uniforms using your Coop Bank ATM card. Get easy access to instant personal and business loans through M-Coop Cash App or *667# and top up pocket money into your child's Coop prepaid card. Back to school payments have never been simpler thanks to Coop Bank. Cooperative Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
When pain strikes, don't let it kill the good vibe.
Are you okay? No, I've got cramps. Try this Maramoja Advance. It works so fast. You'll be back to spinning in no time.
Get that advanced relief with Maramoja Advance. And get back to the good vibes.
Maramoja Advance. Back to the good vibes.
Welcome back. You're still watching tonight. Now, grieving families of 5 people shot dead by police officers during protests in Angata Barikoi, Narok County, are demanding justice as post-mortem on their bodies of the victims confirmed that they all died of gunshot wounds. Rights groups want President William Ruto to act, with no officer arrested so far. The tragedy unfolded amidst a land dispute over 6,000 acres claimed by 448 families, despite a court order halting any demarcation. Willie Lusige reports.
Post-mortem examination results of the bodies of 5 victims of the violence confirmed that they died from gunshot wounds.
Where? Why are you killing people?
In the aftermath of the violence in Angata Barikoi, Transmara, 5 protesters lost their lives after police allegedly opened fire during demonstrations against the grabbing of over 10,000 acres of land. Tears and grief filled St. Joseph's Mission Hospital mortuary and Kilgoris Level 4 Referral Hospital mortuary in Narok as families of the victims gathered for the post-mortems to establish how their loved ones died. Human rights groups and IPO officials joined the mourners, confirming that the 3 victims had been shot in the head, while 2 succumbed to stomach gunshot wounds.
Kijana wangu anaitwa Isaya Kipkoe Kingetich. Amewawa akiwa anapalilia mahindi kwa shamba na amestukia tu maaskari wanaingia na kufamia watu wetu kwa shamba bila sisi kujua ni nini naendelea.
The families describe their loved ones as the pillars of their households.
Tunaomba serikali wawe makini kwa kazi wanayofanya kwa sababu wametupatia maafa. Watu wetu 5 wamekufa saa hii.
Human rights organizations demanded swift action, calling for the arrest and prosecution of the officers involved.
Tuko na huzuni kubwa. Tunaomba serikali watupatie haki yetu, walinde sisi na mali zetu, sio sisi kuuawa.
Mauaji ya kiholela na polisi yamezidi kupita kiasi katika nchi hii. Wakenya wamechoshwa na haya mauaji na tunataka wale wanaohusika na haya mauaji wakamatwe haraka iwezekanavyo.
We are going to reach out to the families of those who lost their loved ones to also support them in the best way we can, based on the discussion we will have with their families. And if there is anyone who will be found culpable, the law will take its course and eventually justice will be done.
Among those killed were a 15-year-old boy and 4 men, among them a teacher. Willie Lusige, Citizen TV.
At the same time, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen visited 10 police officers injured in the line of duty during recent security operations in Boni and Transmara and in the multinational security mission in Haiti. And as Ode Francis now reports, 5 police officers have been killed in these latest operations.
Today, senior government officials visited injured officers at Nairobi West Hospital. The Inspector General of Police, his deputy from National Police Service, and Cabinet Secretary for Interior, Kipchumba Murkomen. Their visit aimed to commend the officers for their sacrifice and reassure them of unwavering government support.
Those guys, those goons, they are bushcars. One of my crew members sit here, but mine hit me
That's why I'm.
The government has pledged assistance to the families of those who lost their loved ones both within the security forces and among civilians caught in the violence. The 10 injured personnel hail from different missions. 9 officers sustained injuries in the fight against crime in various parts of the country, while 1 was injured in Haiti. 5 officers tragically lost their lives in the Boni ambush, sparking concerns over tactical vulnerability and operational preparedness. Security teams are now analyzing the incidents to reinforce strategic responses and avert future tragedies.
Sometimes we lose officers. And so in this situation, through various operations, we've lost in the recent few days about 5 officers. And their families have been informed.
Authorities insist that while these losses are heartbreaking, efforts have been intensified to ensure officers are equipped with better protective measures and intelligence-driven counter strategies.
As a result of the killing of a chief in Baringo County and recent acts of robbery along the highway of Nakuru to Kabarnet, again, a number of, not Nakuru Kabarnet, actually the Chemalingot Road. I want to say that 2 people have been arrested, and the investigations are ongoing to find out if there are others who are also culpable, and they will all be brought to book.
The CS asking Kenyans to back the officers who he said make sacrifices to keep the country safe. Ode Francis, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
And now to the Finance Bill 2025, which has been tabled in Parliament. The National Treasury has chosen to walk away from tax measures that directly impact Kenyans and instead taking away reliefs that could eventually lead to more expensive consumer goods. A litany of goods that are currently zero-rated have been proposed to be exempted from value-added tax, meaning manufacturers and retailers will have no chance of recouping previously claimable VAT. Our reporter Wamboi Wangoi looks into the Finance Bill 2025.
The government has for the last few days been on a campaign that for the first time it is introducing a finance bill that introduces no new taxes and is instead keen on tightening tax compliance and sealing revenue leaks. And as experts and Kenyans begin to analyze a tax bill, a pattern is emerging, one that walks away from last year's controversies.
What they've attempted this year is to move away from items that are very public-facing and focus more on businesses.
Part of the National Treasury's efforts are on the Value-Added Tax Act. Several goods and inputs currently zero-rated could soon become VAT exempt. Zero-rated items allow businesses to claim VAT refunds on their inputs and raw materials. This helps reduce production costs for businesses. Shifting to VAT exempt would mean that businesses have no chance to recover such tax expenditure, forcing them to transfer the same to the end consumer. Some of those to be tax exempted include raw materials used in the production of medicine here in the country, transport services for sugarcane from farm to factory, locally assembled mobile phones, electric bicycles, solar and lithium-ion batteries, as well as animal feed inputs.
If this document was meant to get us closer to job creation and economic growth, I don't think it's quite achieved that, because it's going to add the cost of goods, add the cost of doing business, and making the economy slow down.
The bill also proposes longer timelines for tax refunds. The Kenya Revenue Authority would have up to 120 days, up from 90, to verify refund claims. The tax refund audit period would be extended from 4 months to 6 months.
We now have people who claim tax refunds because they run bakeries. And we are paying a lot of money to many bakeries. But you know what they're doing? They have more accountants in those bakeries than people who bake any bread. This, ladies and gentlemen, we must have a candid conversation and stop it.
But tax experts are warning that extended timelines for legitimate tax refunds could worsen existing cash flow challenges for businesses. The bill also proposes the scrapping of a section of the Tax Procedures Act that bars KRA from demanding integration of the systems of a business with its own. If the bill passes as is, the taxman would have access to personal data collected by businesses from their customers.
We hope the feedback that will be given by Kenyans will easily be adopted because last year some of the proposals that Kenyans were giving, they were told those are non-negotiable.
Other proposed changes include exempting retirees' gratuity payments from taxation.
This reform is a recognition of the service and sacrifice of our senior citizens and workers, and a step towards ensuring that retirement is met with dignity, not stress.
If enacted by Parliament, private sector employees could also see their tax-free per diems increase from 2,000 shillings to 10,000 shillings. Wamboi Wangoi, Citizen TV.
Again, we'll continue to break down what's contained in the finance bill as well as the estimates that are coming from the National Treasury in our subsequent bulletins. But we are taking a short break. Here is what's coming up after the break.
Kufika pale Jackson nikakutana na watu wengi. Sijui anasema kuna mtoto ameenda na maji. Mtoto wangu ananiambia wamejaribu kumfuruta wakashindwa kumfuruta.
8-year-old grade 2 pupil swept by flash floods in Milimani area of Nakuru.
KCSE graduates, launch your future, achieve your dreams. Train at Jordan College of Technology, which is a brand trusted by employers locally and internationally. We train highly marketable courses in engineering, journalism, ICT, catering, tourism, hair and beauty, medical, fashion and interior design, business, short courses and driving. We take pride in providing quality education, state-of-the-art facilities, comprehensive programs, top-notch faculty, career support and vibrant campus life. Apply now for our ongoing May Grand Intake and train with the best. Visit us at our new ultra-modern campus, Jordan Towers, Thika Town. Jordan College of Technology, the leading TVET and medical institution in Kenya.
When I have back pain, I reach for 2 tablets of Panadol Extra. For fast relief of strong pain, like headache, toothache, muscle pain, and I am finally released from pain. Try Panadol for fast and effective relief from strong pain. Now available at an affordable price.
Visit the Nairobi Hospital for world-class healthcare. With over 650 specialized doctors and nurses, we offer unmatched multi-specialty services, including the fast biplane cath lab for cardio, neuro, and vascular treatments in the region. We also provide affordable kidney transplants, advanced CT and MRI scanners with AI integration, and brachytherapy for prostate cancer. Visit the Nairobi Hospital for world-class healthcare. The Nairobi Hospital. Healthcare with a difference.
Welcome to Boma Mabati Factory, the 2024 award winner in roofing solutions. All our products come with warranty and are KEBS certified. Be part of our many satisfied customers by visiting us to enjoy great discounts. Boma Mabati Factory, Mabati Poa, near Boma. Ready to step into a world of opportunities? Welcome to Machakos Institute of Technology, a global leader in TVET, offering skill-based courses designed to keep you ahead in today's job market. Our affordable and flexible learning options make MIT your gateway to vast career opportunities. Our campus is equipped with state-of-the-art labs, hostels, qualified trainers, Wi-Fi, and investment in extracurricular activities. Our May 2025 intake is ongoing. Enroll today. Call 0722-973-271 or apply online through our website www.mit.ac.ke. Master the training, experience the rewards.
Chinos from 5,600 shillings. Only Core Span yarn with stretch. Pre-washed, color fast, and shrink-proof so they last longer. The only chinos to choose.
Welcome back. A grade 2 pupil was on Wednesday evening swept by floods in Milimani area, Nakuru West Sub-County. The family says the 8-year-old boy was heading home from school when he accidentally slipped into a roadside drainage trench. Miriam Nyambura has that report.
A heavy downpour witnessed in Nakuru on Wednesday evening led to severe flooding in several parts of the town. A grade 2 pupil at Lenana Primary School was swept away by the fast-moving waters. Police reports indicate that 8-year-old Glenn Karanja was heading home from school when he fell inside an open trench that had turned into a dangerous water stream due to the heavy rain.
Mtoto wangu ananiambia wamejaribu kumufuruta, wakashindwa kumufuruta. Ndio hii ingine wakaona kidogo tu hivi ndio wakaona akitembea na maji. Sasa ninasikia niko chini sana just tu kukuwa tunajua kutaenda hivi.
The deceased's mother, Priscilla Karanja, says her third-born son left school at 3:30 p.m. as is usual. Only that this time round, a regular school day ended in unimaginable tragedy.
Nimepigiwa simu nikiwa hapa 58. Nikaambiwa mtoto niharakishe, mtoto amenyeshewa sana. Sasa kufika pale Jackson nikakutana na watu wengi. Sijui wanasema kuna mtoto ameenda na maji. Ametolewa hapa kama amekufa.
Karanja's body was discovered a few meters from where the incident happened. Police officers from Nakuru West retrieved the body and transferred it to the Nakuru Teaching and Referral Hospital morgue.
Watoto wamelilisua wakienda shule, ndio huyu mtoto akienda nyumbani akapatana na ajali.
Miriam Nyambura, Citizen TV.
Tension remains high in the Kipkaren area of Eldoret City after locals held demonstrations into the questions for the better part of Thursday of allegations that a police officer from Yamombi police station had caused the death of a 25-year-old man, Ali Abdi. Residents said Abdi was last seen in the custody of the police officer only for his body to be retrieved from the Sosian River 5 days after his arrest. And as Kamau Mwangi now reports, 10 demonstrators will spend the night in police custody following the protests.
Kipkaren, Eldoret City, Thursday. It was cat-and-mouse games between the police and agitated locals who demonstrated because of the death of 25-year-old Ali Abdi, allegedly at the hands of a police officer from the Yamombi police station, in whose custody the deceased was last seen. Ali's death sparking anger among residents after his body was found floating lifeless on River Sosian on Sunday.
Mama moja akatuambia niliona mtu akipita hapa, mwili ya mtu ikipita na maji. That exact time when hiyo incident ilifanyika, vijana wakikimbia. It was around saa 7. Saa 6 saa 7 hapo hivyo. That means huyo kijana wetu haliuliwa kwa maji. Na kitu tunaomba serikali ni mbona askari akimbize kijana to a point of his death.
While recounting how the news of the demise of her son got to her, Fatuma Abdullahi, Ali's mother, demanded action against the state officer for what her family sees as the unnecessary use of excessive force.
Alihakikisha akamkimbisha vile amefika vile amefika kwa maji, akainua mkono juu hivi, ndio sasa kuliko hata watu wengi waliona hasa kuliko aweke bingo, ndio akaamua kutupa ndani.
Mbona simshike ampeleke sela, ampeleke jela, kwa sababu jela ni ya wanaume na watu wanafanya makosa. Mtu kama ni mtu afanya makosa aende aserve time yake, atoke nje. Mbona askari anafika to a point of committing murder? Hivi hata hiyo ni extreme.
The residents' outrage worsened by the disappearance of Samuel Ngoko, a man said to have witnessed the incident and who has been missing amid reports that he was taken away by people believed to be police officers in an unmarked vehicle.
Tumemtafuta kila mahali. Tumeenda kwa police station hii ya town main office, tumeenda Pioneer, tumeenda Rangas, tumeenda kwa kila mocheri kumtafuta kama kuna mtu. Hasa tumeshindwa. Kijana yetu Wasamia ako pande gani?
10 protesters will spend the night in police custody after they were arrested in the demos, with tension still palpable in the area. Kamau Mwangi, Citizen TV.
Business activities were disrupted on Thursday morning along the Kilgoris Nyangusu Road in Kilgoris town of Narok County during protest by angry residents. A section of youth took to the streets lighting bonfires and barricading the road after a Boda Boda rider was reportedly run over by a GSU vehicle, which later fled the scene. According to eyewitnesses, the officer allegedly hit the rider and appeared to reverse the vehicle in an attempt to run over him again. However, upon noticing the growing crowd, the officer allegedly fled to an unknown location.
Yule mtu wa tatu tutanyamazia, tutajielewa lini kama na bodaboda wa Kilgoris. Sisi tumefunga barabara, hatuna maneno mengi, tunataka tuletewe jeshi mwenye alikuwa na gari atuambie ni sababu gani.
Tumeumia sana. Jamaa wetu wa bodaboda ameugongwa na kurusa aina ya GSU. Inarudi nyuma alafu ikamgonga ku make sure amemuua. Sasa juu yeye ni mwanajeshi na anajitambua, hatutakubali Kilgoris tunyanyaswe tena.
A very unfortunate turn of events there in Kilgoris. We're taking a short break here on Tonight. When we come back, we have stories from the sports fields.